The diva of Bollywood industry Sonam Kapoor was recently in Delhi for the release of Raisa Lalwani's first book, The Diary on the Fifth Floor, along with her Union Minister Babul Supriyo. Actor Manjot and many other well-known personalities were present at the book launch. The grand event took place at Hotel Taj Palace. Written by Raisa Lalwani, The Diary on the Fifth Floor is a 25-year-old adventure story of a 25-year-old lady. As the novel's story progresses, it has been told about the character in the same way. It is a story based on a true incident. Well, Raisa Lalwani is a mother, a storyteller, a homemaker, and an author at night. Raised as former Delhi University student, she masters in international business. Writing came as an interesting twist in her life. The story of Raisa's writing has begun since her childhood, when she understood the biography of people in a big city as a role. Raisa have a hug fan following. Her multitasking skills are quite commendable. While living in Dubai, many people get inspiration from the way she fulfills a mother's duty, the role of the housewife, and the role of the businessman, as well as the writer's duty. In the book titled The Diary on the Fifth Floor, not only showcases that how a girl had her family fight with problems in life, it also shows how we are living in the society and we all are doing the same kind of experience. Hariharan Smita Parekh, Ashwani Sangi, Salim Marchand, Pankaj Dubey praised Raisa Lalwani's for her book.
Like to begin with. Even yesterday, Raisha was all tensed up, and she's calling me or texting me. Acha iska aisa karna hai, acha iska aisa. Can we please have this? A mother of two putting a book down. It's not the easiest of tasks, and that's been a takeaway that I have had personally. She actually came to, when I was at Harvard, she actually came to me with a proposal through a friend of mine, and somehow things didn't work out. I think Kavi should be happy about that it didn't work out with Rupa, with Harvard, it worked out with Rupa. But Raisha, this is arriving at a certain destination, but there's been a long journey behind it. We sort of kind of tend to forget the journey. सोनम के साथ बैठे हुए हैं, डेस्टिनेशन पे पहुंच गए हैं, एक डेस्टिनेशन पे पहुंच गए. There are so many more to come. Can you just describe parts of that journey? Sonam, I'll not ask you too many questions. I think that where I'm not. So.
अरे यार मत जाया करो यार, बंद करो यार गाना.
You chose the word journey because I think it is the journey that kind of prepares you, acclimatizes you, and teaches you a lot about the destination. While growing up, people who know me know that I've traveled a lot. We were just moving in Meerut. And moving from high school, it was a little difficult to adjust. I think for anyone, by the time you're settled, you've made friends, you had a best friend, and you're suddenly asked to just move. So yeah, it was a little difficult as a child. And I think when I started writing letters to my old friends.
Can we please just have a little less conversation back there? I can't hear Raisha properly, please. Yeah, please.
So you know how you move on in life, but you're still, a part of you is left behind because you were there some time back. So I started writing letters to my friends, and then soon it turned into poetry. And out of nowhere, I don't know how I managed to do this, but yeah, I think it started somewhere there.
When you mention about journeys and how some of that stays, there's a lovely little piece there in this book where you talk about how you get attached to people, not only to people, but also she puts it wonderfully. There's a space in a Starbucks cafe which you think belongs to you, and then you see. So, like some of these stories are obviously inspired from things that have happened. There's this story in the metro you have. There's this person who is. Can you talk about what kind of experiences have gone into this making of the book?
Well, actually, that particular episode was pretty disturbing for me. I was a college here at the U then, and I was on the metro, and there were people, it was crowded, and there were two ladies, two women talking about the bomb blast that had happened just a couple of days ago. And very nicely, one of them is asking me whether bomb blast के बारे में सुना वो राजीव चौक वाला, and the other one is saying हाँ मैंने सुना. And then she's saying पर इस बार बड़े दिनों बाद हुआ नहीं. And I was like, what? And ironically, I was on the metro, I was going to Tagore Garden to meet a friend of mine who was a victim of the same blast. So for me, it was very disturbing. Who talks like that?
Hear what she has to say or what we have to say. If you guys don't want to, then maybe you can leave the room. Honestly, I think it's encouraging when there are young writers because I think there are very few young readers these days. I don't know if Rupa or Harper's or anybody is going through that kind of crunch right now.
It was 11 minutes by Paulo Coelho, and I just fell in love with that book. I fell in love with that book because it was the simplicity with which he wrote, and so I don't know if you've read it, but it's about a girl, a Brazilian girl called Maria. It's about her story, and she's a girl of questionable moral values. And yet, she's in the grey area, but the way he has put her there, it's beautiful. The innocence is intact. And I really loved reading that. And since then, yeah, he became my favorite.
It comes from within, it develops over 3 or 4 books, I think. You will sort of get into that. So, any particular portion of the book that really sort of impressed you or made you feel, wow, this is something I'd like to read, I'd like to go back to?
Well, I think just the beginning, the way it starts about a girl who might be like Raisha or me, who's nervous and am I allowed to say this? Huh? I don't know. I'm not allowed to.
Say anything.
No, because no. It's little bit, right? Just the fact, there's a lot of stigma attached to getting help, mental,
Absolutely.
To see someone for your mental health or for your emotional health. And I was just like, it's nice to read an author, like I said, who comes from a similar background or a similar space, and who is writing very courageously about it. Because a lot of the times authors don't realize this. Even though they're very lonely, there's a lot of them in the paper, in the book.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of courage to put your thoughts and emotions down, and I got hooked because of that.
Yeah. Would you like to, is there a portion you'd like to read?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Please?
Yeah, of course.
Can we please have a little less conversation? Please. This is you don't have Sonam reading out from a book. You must respect that, please.
Fakeism. I'm sorry about my glasses. I look a little geeky and nerdy, but I can't read without them. So the chapter is called Fakeism, which I think is pretty cool. How much can you stretch the same band? How elastic can your gum be? How much can you stretch one thing? I mean, how long can you keep talking about the same thing? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, noon, 3 p.m., 11:45 p.m., 2010, 2011, 2050. Even the movie didn't do well. Okay, so you have a fleet of cars, that's great. You have the best of clothes, agreed. You have the best jewelry there is accepted. So then, what's next? Are we going to start talking about it during drinks and go on till the end of the evening? Or are we going to move on to another subject? It feels like one more day, another hour, another minute is wasted. It was a friend's birthday and I was invited to the party. I went to buy her a present. It was just one of these days when you don't feel like dressing up. I was in my casual clothes, and there is a reason bad hair day became a cliche. But I just decided to hit the mall anyway. While in search for an appropriate present, I bumped into an old friend. I had forgotten about the way I was dressed, but I was quickly and terribly brought back to reality. At first, it was just an eye contact, but soon her eyes began to roll, and in no time she looked away. She did not even think it was important to introduce me to her friends. Just because I wasn't dressed well, I was a friend, so what if I wasn't well dressed? I'm still me. My light, comfortable loafer suddenly felt heavy as I started to walk away. I mean, what happened to the we'll hold hands and skip together part? I haven't called her since, nor do I intend to. I walked in the dark with a heart full of love. I was carrying my soul. Went to Europe was enough. Some philosophy in it. I feel eventually it's about love. I'm a romantic. And I liked the bowler hat in it a lot. I think my love for fashion always started in books, Gone with the Wind, and I was also addicted to Ayn Rand, like every young person is when they're 15, and then I got over her by the time I was 18. So.
Raisha, the portion that, if you have listened to the portion that Sonam read out, a lot of that is very poetry, crisp lines that say a lot more than there is to the line. And particularly the last two lines, really, really how one wants to, it's essential to bring a poem to an end in the perfect manner, and that's what many of us don't manage to do, which she does very well because she's a poet herself. Like my first introduction to her came over poems that she used to send over to me on text messages, 4 or 5 lines. So a lot of the book is about that, crisp lines that are very poetry, that are very sort of traverse that thin divide between poetry and fiction and facts that are put very poetically. And so, of course, poetry continues to be I think your first love, like it comes through a lot of the things. So I'm going to ask you to read from the book. People will be buying that book, and Sonam has read one of the finest parts of the book. What I'd like you to do is probably read a poem, one of your poems. I asked you to get a poem or two.
So,
Yeah.
I've been posting, like, everyone's been posting the quotes that I keep writing.
Yeah.
Got one here.
I like Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Okay.
Very dark.
While growing up, being diplomatic was frowned upon. I often wonder how much have we grown, for it has now become a way of living. Then there's one poem that is there in the book, which I wrote when I was a child. So it rhymes. It's a proper poem, but it's very close to my heart, so I just thought I'd share that. When Mom taught us ABC, she also taught us how to be. We were told to be nice, even when we weren't feeling so good inside. She asked us to be polite, even if it meant to swallow our pride. Hurting someone was the biggest sin, so without using our brain, we wore a silly grin. And then there were tasks about expressing yourself, so choosing the right words became a task you couldn't buy for pelf. But with the passing time, all I can do is sit and whine. All that I have learned by far seems to have gone down the drain. For I have been hurt and there is no refrain. Have people lost the insight to tell right from wrong? Shouldn't they be reminded of the good old song? When desert was the one thing that was considered and kept cold. When eyes could express feelings and memories were not sold.
Thank you.
This being my first book, it's more on a serious note. And so for my next book, I would really like to try some other genre. I have something in mind, but you will know when I'm ready to tell you about it. Thank you. Good night.
General, can we have you say a few words?
I'll only say a few words. Let me congratulate Raisha for first time hit that she has achieved. And as I was listening to her and some people were asking her the questions, it is her observations and putting them down in writing as she observed, which ultimately resulted in a compilation, which is what the book is all about. Observations of day-to-day things, observations of how the society works, observations on your feelings of what is happening, and your own deductions of how things are, and taking it, weaving it into a story and compiling these stories together is what the book is all about. And I think it's a very good read. Good read implies, in my dictionary, a book which you pick up and don't leave it till you finish. That is how the book is all about. Enough congratulations and all the very best.
Honorable Prime Minister has not seen that, otherwise I must have just lost my job. This public enterprise, this heavy industries and public enterprise. Don't worry, I'll take it, no problem. Automobiles is also part of it. First of all, congratulations, Raja. Congratulations, Sonamji, for being part of this evening. Sir, after Putukra Industry Madhuri, I leave it to that. And thank you so much for calling me on stage. First of all, I was just listening. I have already written that it's a great book because if it was not, then probably it becomes hard to make yourself part of the evening where you have a newcomer writing a book. But to be very honest with you, most people are more used to having politicians not saying the right or the true things. But I will tell you that I still not read the book. So I want to read it, and I want to find out the most beautiful places in that. And when it comes to a new writer, the most exciting part of a new writing is the very fact that he or she is a new writer. I had obviously I hail from Bollywood. I have still not detached myself from singing. In fact, my career started with Sonamji's father way back in 1993. I was very young then, it's not that old now. Yeah, in the Amitabh Bachchan, Sridevi, Anil Kapoor tour that happened under Bonnie Kapoor in 1993. So, there was one line that I've read about Akira Kurosawa. It's a beautiful line. He was asked in an interview, what would you advise new directors, new writers? Like I just heard Sonamji say about being a director, then writing and all of that. I just tell you, he said that I would just tell you something that don't do anything. Don't do anything. Just sit down and start writing. Write. You become a builder by building. You become a writer by writing. You become a director by directing. So the best thing that you can do is just keep on writing. And one small example, small thing that I really want to share on stage. I also have a daughter who's 20 years old, studying in Miti Bhai in Juhu. In Miti Bhai in Juhu, you all know where it is. And while coming, whenever I sit in the car, the first call I make is to her. So she told me that she slept in the afternoon today for about 14 hours because exams are going on in Miti Bhai. And when she woke up, she's just feeling sad. And she doesn't know why she is feeling sad. So what I told her is that sometimes, mind is a very weird thing. You need to probably dig deep into to find out what's the reason why you're feeling sad. There cannot be a thing that, I don't know why I'm feeling sad. And that's also is a line that was told by written by Arthur Conan Doyle in the book Sherlock Holmes. He told Watson once that never say that I don't know why I'm feeling sad. Find out there's something in the corner of the mind which will give you the reason why you're feeling sad. And I think whatever I've heard about the book, I find it to be very intriguing, and I will read it and I will make sure that I get your husband's number and then send you a congratulatory, but not yours. So we are in a very So that's one thing. And ironically, my daughter also stays. You said something that I can hear, or maybe not. When two women are talking amongst themselves, you normally know they're talking against you. But that's okay. I take it. that much closet is allowed. But ironically, my daughter also stays on the 5th floor. She's on B54, which is the 5th floor. So these are coincidences that I really wanted to share with you. And I wish you all the very best. I wish you, sir, the great questions. And I hope that all of you like the book, and we should all look forward to the second book, and she should get back to that place where she's going to be there with the clear pages, clean white pages, and probably a black pen. So we are going to see things in black and white. So all the very best once again, and thanks for making this.